she married. Grimacing faintly at her own childish folly, she thinks again of Sarah. Sarah had had to do all the washing and scrubbing, soaking shirts and old-fashioned collars until her hands were cracked and red from the harsh lye soap she made herself, and then having to starch the collars into hard points, spending hours with the heavy flat irons. Had the never-ending round of housework contributed to her death? General debility. The little room is cramped and airless, the cobwebbed eaves brushing her head, the one tiny window looking out onto rolling hills that lead to a slate-grey sea, churning and restless even on this summer's day, yet no less beautiful. She remembers her arrival 2 years ago. How desperate and afraid she was, yet clinging to the one frail thread of hope that Sarah, in her generosity, had offered her. She'd clutched her single case, its side banging her knees, as Ruth had met her at the train and led her up the narrow winding street, the smell of coal fires on the damp sea air. She'd glimpsed the sea, a twinkling promise behind the row of whitewashed cottages, and her heart had lifted. She'd always loved the sea. Back in Kendal, there had only been the river, hemmed in on every side by the looming fells, so sometimes it felt as if the earth was enclosing her, a giant's teacup. Now she crouches in the centre of the room, the slip of paper clutched in her hand, a dozen different memories tumbling through her mind, making her mouth tremble as she keeps the useless tears at bay. Sarah silently sweeping up broken crockery, her face set in determinedly placid lines. Sarah sitting slumped at the kitchen table, her head resting against her hand, her eyes fluttering closed, her other hand reaching out to Lucy. Always to Lucy. Sarah pressing a rail ticket into her hand, her lips drawn tightly together, her eyes dark and troubled. Go, it's the only way. But had it been? Had it been? It would be wiser to burn the death certificate, and with it her links to her old life in Kendal. Those awful memories, the endless sense of reproach, and the childish anger and hurt. But she knows she can't. It feels like a sacrilege, yet another betrayal of Sarah. But neither can she keep the thing. Its stark lines a potent reminder of who she'd been, what she'd done. Who had sent it? Who knew? With shaking fingers, she pries up an old floorboard, a jagged splinter piercing deeply into her thumb, the pain feeling right and clean, somehow just, and then she slides the folded certificate into the dark, musty space underneath. Dust rises in the air, and motes dance in the sunlight streaking in from the window, making her cough. All around her the house is still and silent, waiting for the thing to be done. In the distance, she sees the glint of the sea, a twinkling flash before the clouds cover the sun and all turns grey again. She presses the floorboard back down and breathes a sigh of mingled regret and relief. It is finished. I'm sorry, Sarah, she whispers, pressing her hand against the floorboard. A farewell. The only memorial she can offer for a woman she's never had the decency or courage to thank. Silence stretches all around her, feeling accusing now rather than expectant. And with a quickly drawn breath, she rises from the floor and then hurries from the room, closing the door firmly behind her.
Chapter 1. Ellen.
Oi, love.
So, how was it? Ellen Tyson looked up from the third kettle she boiled that morning, maniacally bright, slapping a smile on her face as one of the 3 builders who was redoing the little attic room lumbered into the kitchen. Yes?
Found this under the floorboards. Thought you might like to have a look.
Under the floorboards?